Hello, my friends, my art friends. Today I had some questions asked about how I told a lady when I first started, I practiced a lot just using magazines I would get in the mail. They didn't cost me anything. It didn't matter if I didn't do a good job or didn't work out or anything like that. Changed the angle of my camera a little. I realize I have to do some work on that. So bear with me, I'm working on it. So I'm over 65, so I get things like this in the mail. They're a fairly sturdy paged magazine. They're pretty nice to work on. I use things like this. This just came from Trader Joe's. I think this came out of, just some magazine I got. This is a book I got at the thrift store, and it's just full of butterflies of all different sizes and colors, and I use it a lot for wings and things like that. I got these out of my, I think it was either like my local grocery store's ad. I thought that was kind of cool. Or it might have been Costco even. I do use a lot of things out of the Costco things. I just thought maybe I could do something fun with these. And then I use jewelry for crowns for my girls that I make. I'll just cut them out. And just about anywhere you go in the mall, there's a jewelry store, and you could just pick up one of their little catalogs, and that's all this is. And they're very fun to use. Like maybe you could imagine this, well, that's too big for her. So then you take, find another one that you think might be better size. That's obviously too big for her. Maybe I won't have the right size. Sometimes I combine two things. This might work though. I can imagine this working. So what I would do is I would kind of cut around her head so that I can get a little better idea of I think this might work out. And really, I think anybody could do this. It's just gluing things down. It's not very, you don't need to know very much or anything to do this. There's a lot of junk you gotta throw out though. Well, I can totally see that working for her head maybe. That might even work, honestly. So anyway, we'll play with that. We'll see what we come up with. Actually, like this picture on the front of Marlo Thomas even. I wonder if her head would fit for this. No, that's just still way too big. Well, the pearls would be about right, I think. So several ways of doing things. You can add things to the top of what you have and easily paint this out and paint all this out. Or you can start, oh, here's another picture of her. Oh, great. Maybe I'll just start on this page. So this is pretty much what I always do. I'll just tear something that I think is kind of interesting. I'll look at both sides of it. I think this is kind of cool actually. So I think I might just glue that in. You can see that's not very perfect or anything, I'm not really around her dress that well or anything. You can get it a little closer if you want. And that gives me sort of just a nice picture of her sitting there. I also kind of like how this red ties into this red. So I think I'll start with that. And then, I don't know, I might look at this one. I might put this one, I might put her there. And I'll just put some paint there to cover that up. And I don't know what I'll do here. I'll probably find something to glue down. I could always use a little piece of book page, which is just an old book that I got at the thrift store, and this one comes out of this book. And this is just an old book that I got at the thrift store, and I painted it with DIY chalk paint, and this is an IOD rubber stamp. They make the most incredible rubber stamps. They're 12 by 12 inches. They're made for walls and furniture more than cards. They're really fun. This is a little piece of they have rub-ons that are also large, made for your wall or furniture. And this is some of their molds that they have. And then here's the side, and here's the back with another one of their little molds. A little bee mold, and some more of the stamp. Anyway, so I just go in and I just tear out, you know, I'll just tear out a page of this, and usually I will take it and I'll kind of rip it like that, and usually I'll take off the kind of white parts, but not always. So this is all the kind of junk, I guess you'd say, that I use. I also like things like this. This is a Sean Petit paper. I believe it's free in her resource library if you're interested. She's really great to watch, and she has wonderful collage packets and stencils, and no, she's just, if you haven't watched her, go watch her. So I think I'll start this way. So I will just glue this girl down here. Just going to glue it off the page. I'm going to use some decoupage for this. Sometimes I use my glue stick. I'm nervous when I fly, so I take things like this to do on the airplane, and you can't really take the decoupage as a carry-on. So I will just take a glue stick, and it works pretty well too. It might not last forever, but really these kind of projects, they're more for you to learn and have fun and not have to worry about the cost of supplies or a frame or, you know, any of those kind of things. This is just to have fun and play with, and that can always happen. Oh, and then I ripped her. Oh no. So don't worry. You can almost always pick it up for a minute or so and lay it back down. Use your card, get a little decoupage on the top now, because paper, when you get it wet, it wrinkles and bubbles. Now, I don't really care about that much. See, I've got one here. I just don't care. I can get back under this edge, and I can add just a little drop of decoupage on the edge of my card, which I love to use, and I can get it in there and spread it and then go off of it. Still haven't found a better thing to use on my table. Help me out, ladies. You have any good suggestions? Because this tablecloth is not very pretty and awfully busy. Anyway, one thing you want to do when you're doing something like this is you want to pick it up and move it a little bit, because otherwise when you're done, your decoupage can stick to this beautiful tablecloth I have. And you know, you don't want your whole project sticking. So you can wait for this to dry and cut it off. I'm just going to rip it off. We're going to see what it looks like. Who knows? Might end up trimming it up. You know, I can see here I'm a little off the edge. I'll probably just trim that up. And while I'm here, I'm just going to add this little piece in this corner. And then I don't know what I'll do with it from there. But anyway, that's where we're at right now. And I like that she shows. And another thing I like to do, I like to turn my book pages sideways or upside down. It's pretty rare that I actually have something I kind of want to read or see that it's readable. I feel like that distracts from that you're doing an art project with it. It puts more focus on the book page than I want. I just want that to be something covering up what was there. And next thing I'll do is I'll just lay this one on top. Let's see if I can get this relatively in the right spot. You know, once you have some decoupage down, you just keep going with it. You just try to get thin layers. Try not to get it where you don't want it. Move it around. It's all right. I got a whole bunch extra. You can see all that extra on my card, but once I lay this piece of paper down on it, then it will pretty much, I'll go over the top of it, of course, too, and that'll pretty much soak up all that little extra bit of decoupage. I might even have to add a little more, but I can get it off of the edges because I don't really want it there. And if you're really doing something nice, which, you know, this is just for play, like I said, but if you were doing something nice, you might want to have a wet wipe to get it off of like this area, because it'll have a little bit different texture when you're done now, because you've got some decoupage on there. And even though this is matte decoupage, this is an old bottle, all wrinkly because I wash them out and refill them for classes, but let's see, what was I saying? Even though you have a little, it's matte medium, but it's still a little glossy, and you never know, compared to the page on your magazine, it might be a lot glossier. I'm going to take a quick look at this to make sure that you're seeing I have my magazine in the right place. I moved my camera a little and I'm not quite sure, so just 1 second. Well, it looks like you can see her to me. You'll have to let me know in the comments. I really appreciate any feedback you give me. Well, here's a good example of what can happen. See, I didn't get it laid down quite right. It's over a little too far this way. So this is still showing. But there's so many things I can do with that. Here's a little piece of this that I tore off right here. I think I'll just simply put that on there for now because, you know, I don't know how this is going to end up anyway. I'm just playing with it. I did what you would do. I just took some pieces of things and laid them down around me and started ripping them up. If you end up where you don't have enough papers or whatever it is you're going for, you know, it could be scrapbook papers that you have, or it could be almost anything. And stencils are great too to use. They're really fun to use on this type of stuff. But, you know, if you end up you don't have enough, no worries, right? You just walk away and you go find something else. It's not a big deal. I'm not sure you can see that, but I always prop my card up against my decoupage bottle so it doesn't get all over my table. It also would stick to the table. It just wouldn't be usable then. So I have this left over from, I think, the previous video, video number 2. This is my 3rd video on YouTube. I'm not as afraid of this as I thought I would be. So if I can help anybody to learn anything, I'm pretty happy about it. And if you already know this stuff, then, you know, you move on. Or maybe you just like to see what I'm doing. I don't know. So I'm just going to throw this on here as an extra little element. We'll see what it ends up to be. Don't know yet. Maybe I'll draw on it. Maybe I'll add different wings to it. I'm not really sure. I like this, so I don't think I want to cover that up. All right, so I'm going to look for, I want to find, rings are the best thing that work for, well, that's what I've found anyway, to use for what I call crowns. So I have to find one that'll be about the right size. That can be a little bit tricky. This particular one is super thick, which, you know, that's nice. Especially you could make a really nice altered book out of that because it's so, the texture's so nice and thick. But I think I'm going to use some of these and try to make it work for her crown. I know watching someone cut paper is awful boring. Sorry about that. I don't know really how else to do this because I really am just doing this as I go. I didn't pick it out ahead of time very much, other than getting the catalogs out and a couple books and things, but I don't really know what I'd be using, which is how I do usually do things. When I'm trying to create a class, I teach little art classes in my house, a few ladies, and when I'm doing that, I do the same thing. I just sit down and some things I love, and I just sort of play with it, and most of the time it comes out to something I really like, but not always. So this little piece, it's about the right size for her head to be a little crown. I could do it that way. I could cut this piece off. I could probably turn it this way. I could probably put a little flower in here too. I think I'll keep it this way. Maybe I will use this little earring, or maybe even, no, I think the little earring. It's a very pretty earring. Bling, 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 you know. I think I will glue this down probably in between the crown that's sort of, or what I'm calling a crown, that's sort of sticking up, and the one that's on her head. So, you know, something like probably that. Or maybe even just like that. I kind of like that. Let's see, what else is on this page? I like a lot of things on this page, but I might try to use them for the other girl even. I don't know. This is what I do. I just play till I get what I like. Let's see if I can do something with the other little earring maybe. I normally like to use odd numbers of things. I only have 2 of these earrings, of course, because they only expect us to put 2 in our ears, so there's only a picture of a pair of them. But maybe I could cut it in half. Maybe I could layer one under there so it looks a little more, and maybe this one, yeah, I kind of like that. And then I've got this, the bigger one that's the necklace. Maybe I'll see if it would work for a necklace for her. It'd be sort of exaggerated for her size, maybe. We'll have to see how it looks out when I get it cut out. But, oh, you know, it's just for fun anyway, so it doesn't matter if it, probably would never wear something the size of, if it's too big, you know, that would look like some campaign button or something. I don't know how this will be. I don't think the way the, oh gosh, the part of the necklace that drapes right here against the chain, and it's not quite right. Well, you know, that's not that huge. So anyway, I kind of like that. So let me see if maybe this would work. I don't know. It might. I could just make it a little different than how it is right now. Sort of, I'm going to kind of cut that off as an angle. So it looks like it's kind of going into her hair maybe. Or I should say under her hair, I guess would be more accurate. Let's see, will it work? I think that kind of works. It's kind of fun. Oh, let's see. I would cover this up with paint, and I will. Or, you know, you could make a, let's see. This is cute. This also has this cute little thing, Hearts on Fire. Maybe I'll just make a little tag, because that's kind of cute. I'm sure you all know how to do this thing where you kind of cut to the middle, or you can fold it to cut it. Oh, look at that, covers that right up. Oh, I like that. All right, let's see here. I wonder how this would work for the other lady, maybe. We'll see. Same thing, just cut it out and we'll just see if it works. And if it's not the right size, it's no big deal. Now, I don't think you should go to your jewelry departments and take 10 of these. And you know, almost everybody gets this sort of thing in the mail too, so I know you have lots of things at home that come in the mail that you could use. So you can see how I've cut an oval, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut along here, and it would have been good before I decoupaged it down, I guess, wouldn't it, to have stuck that sort of behind her head. See if I can get it up. No, that's not coming up. Well, I think I'll just cut this off and we'll see if it's going to work. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. Well, that would kind of work. I really love this necklace here. Maybe she could have, oh, I don't know what you would call it, I guess. Sort of it's almost a halo effect. Maybe I want to keep that for like a halo. Those are awful pretty. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll use these two. See if I can make something out of them. So same process. Sorry it's boring, I know. But I have to say, well, at least when I'm doing this, I really have fun playing with it. Partially because it's just, art helps me, it helps me fight my anxiety and things like that. And I don't know, I sort of don't have to think too much, only whether I like the way it looks or not. So it's not too big of a thing to just be doing this and not thinking very much. Well, we'll have to see if this is going to work or not. Let's try the other one also. Cut it out. I don't know if you have things like that where you just sometimes need to forget about all the stuff going on in the world and all the things going on in your family and just all the pain we have in this life, and just sort of relax. And it's almost meditative to me. I don't know for other people. Sometimes I'll write on my pages the way if I'm feeling upset about something, maybe I might write it down. I might write it real messy so that no one but myself knows what it is, because I don't really intend for anyone else to exactly read it. Things like that. I think that's really freeing. At least for me, it's very freeing. So I'm sort of going to stack those on there and pretend that's her crown. And I think I will get some butterfly wings now. So this book, I think I paid 50 cents for this book or something, and I have used it for so many things. And I don't love the idea of cutting up books. I like books, but you know, it's better than it going in the dump, is the way I feel about it. So I just sort of feel like I saved it and I'm turning it into a million beautiful things. See, I really love the colors of this one. So maybe I do try to look at both sides. Oh boy, that's gorgeous, right? But that's big. So I can't really cut that up. That's too bad, because I really like that one. let's see here. It's really nice when there's something I don't love as much on the page, and then on the other page there could be a beautiful, beautiful butterfly. But let's see, this page I like all the butterflies, but I think I'll use some of this. So I don't always tear out the page, but this time I'm going to, just because it's a little, that book's a little cumbersome to work with. Well, I'm going to go with this butterfly for Marlo Thomas, since it's got red, and that works pretty well with her dress and her jewelry I'm going to add on, so that's kind of fun. So back to cutting paper again, right? So here's a tip I learned, and it really does work most of the time. I do still move my scissors sometimes, because I certainly haven't perfected anything, but that's okay. The idea is, if you move the paper instead of your scissors, it's not as hard on your wrist and things like that. So I do find it does make a difference. Oh, that's just darned adorable. I love that. You know, if you're not into wings, I just happen to be into angels and butterflies, and I love wings in general, all kinds of things. So if you're not, that's okay, don't worry. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do anything exactly how I'm doing it. This is just, I hope it gives you some ideas of how you could just take really inexpensive materials and, you know, turn it into something enjoyable for you to do. So don't ever think it has to be just like mine or anything like that. Let's see, where did that? I kind of love how big this one is. Maybe I'll just put one on her. Maybe she'll have two different wings. I guess that could happen, right? If you have a girl with wings, she could pretty much have anything going on, because let's face it, there are no human beings with wings. So you can do whatever you want when you're just playing and you're just making your own little magical story. You know, one thing I like about the wings, I do believe in angels, and I believe they're all around us, and they help us. And the wing thing to me also has been sort of a thought in my head about, oh, you know, there's lots of sayings to do with this type of thing, but how it's time for you to fly. Or there's an Eleanor Roosevelt saying, I might not have it exactly right, but you could probably look it up. Something about, what if I fall? And the person responds, but what if you fly? So I constantly trying not to be so scared, because I'm kind of fearful. I'm kind of a fearful person, and I'm really trying to work on that. And so I kind of like that saying and that thought. And that's partially why I do really love wings too, is I think, especially, well, women, I think we forget we don't have to be perfect. We're doing so many things that are so important. Raising your children is such an important thing, and, or, you know, whatever you choose to do in your life, we need everybody's gifts. We need everybody's, joy. Not the joy from doing things, the joy that comes from within us. We need all of that. And I think we sometimes forget that we have we have these abilities we don't realize because we feel sort of stuck or something. Anyway, my own little personal philosophy. You don't have to believe it or anything. It's okay. It's just how I feel sometimes. So here's something I'm realizing as I've done this. These wings are both technically right wings. What I think I might do, I mean, this is plain, right? I'm just going to simply cut this off, and I'm going to make that into a left wing, and I think I'll cut this one off too. I guess I'll leave that one. They could both be different, right? They don't have to be the same. Okay, well, I kind of covered this little thing up here. I might cut this wing off a little more so that shows it. I think I'll use up this little yellow wing and put it on that little body I had. I find it much easier if you cut this down to a size that you can move around easier too. It's hard when they're big pieces, I think. Well, for me anyway. I'm sure that there's a lot of you out there that cut much neater than I do, and even some of the ladies in my class, they do very beautiful cut work and very precise. I am not very precise, and I just like to have fun with it, so I don't really worry about it that much. So I think I'll kind of like tuck that under there, or maybe it'll even go like that. I don't know yet. All right, I better start gluing some things and get going with this. You can see it takes a while to play with the elements, but that's okay, right? It's not a big deal. Now, when you're doing this, I find the easiest way is to just lay a thinnish layer of decoupage in the general area you're going to be working on. And then as you go, you have to add some more on top and sort of lift it up. Uh-oh. Got to get lifted up or it's not going to work. Okay, there we go. So we're going to tuck this one. I believe it went underneath a little bit. And then that one goes right on the edge. And this other one sort of goes, got to lift that up because you don't want to see that straight edge. You just want to see the, oh, good one, upside down. Well, these are all the little things that happen. So if you don't want your fingers to get dirty, you're probably not doing the right kind of art because this is pretty messy sometimes. Same thing for the little necklace here. I'm just gonna lay a little bit of decoupage down. Doesn't take very much. This is just paper to paper, so whoops, that one is supposed to go that way. There we go. And this one goes kind of that way, I guess, about there. And you just carefully put a little on top and maybe just a smidge more to get that little pendant on there. Sometimes I lift my finger and pick the piece up. It seems to work pretty well. So we'll leave that for just a second because those are so thin. Put a little more down here to get these wings on. You can just do the back of the wings or whatever the element is. That's fine too. And then you can go over the front. Especially when I'm using glue stick, I'm obviously not putting it all over the page like this because your whole page would stick together. But when you're using decoupage, you kind of have to get that laid on there. So it does depend a little bit upon what you're using. And you know, it dries clear, so it's not too big of a deal. So I'll put this big one on first. Scooch this stuff over a little bit. So I'm just going to really just put it on there pretty large because that's a large wing. I'm just going to fit it sort of thinking it would be a little bit under her hair, a little bit off her shoulder. I don't know. That looks pretty silly. you know, if you were doing this, if I'd have thought ahead, I would have cut and put the arm on top of here so that the wing would look how you think it would be more natural. But this is not a real thing, as we've talked about, so it's not super important for it to look that realistic. Mostly you want to have fun or enjoyment out of it. And you can use up lots of, if you're a scrapbooker like me, gosh, you know, we all have so much stuff, so much paper and little elements that we buy that we love to go on the pages that we might not use for one reason or another, doesn't fit, whatever it is. And so this is another way to use up those kind of things too. And I have lots of books where I've used, I use scrapbook paper. I also use rubber stamps and make all kinds of cute girl stamps that I have, and by Julie Nutting. I like to use those a lot. And oh, I don't know, I have a lot of fun with all that stuff. I wish I had some flowers, and I don't think, I didn't get any flowers out, because I would love to have some little flowers going off of here. But, well, didn't get any out, don't have any right now, so that's not going to happen. Okay, so I'm done with the decoupage part of the thing. Sometimes, like what just happened there, you can see you don't quite get enough on, especially these pages were a little heavier than some other times. And anybody who's glued paper down knows if it's heavier paper, it needs a little more glue, no matter what glue you're using. And sometimes you just got to force it down a little bit till it dries enough, and then it will be fine. And as long as you get the middle of things, you can always go back and get the edges more if you need to. Just a smidgy more right there. So. And like I said, it dries clear, so you don't have to worry too much about that. So that looks pretty good to me. Well, I'm going to leave it at this today. Once this is all dry, I'll go back over it. Oh, I forgot this. I'll go back over it with my Sharpies and things. Maybe I can look and see how much time I've used. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I have enough time that I can still finish it up a little bit more. We'll see. I'll look in just a minute here. And see, if I had a flower, I'd probably put a flower in her hand here. That'd be fun. A butterfly would be cute. I wonder if I have a tiny enough one. Well, let me look. Let's see. These are... These are pretty large. Let's see what I got in my jewelry. Maybe there's something there that would be cute. Maybe they have some gemstones or something in here. Oh, there's some. Oh, there's some real pretty ones. Let's see what's on the back page. Well, I do like that stuff too, because look at all those little crowns. Let's see. Usually, okay, this will work out. You can usually find something that will work out. Well, I'm going to kind of just cut some of these out. They're so pretty. I'll start with this one. And I'm not going to keep the whole ring. I'm just going to cut the gemstone, well, the middle. I'll just lay it on there and see how I think it fits. And so that could be one thing. And then there's a really pretty kind of round, well, oval, I guess, is the actual shape of this. Maybe this will look like a flower when we get done with it. Maybe these can be little petals or something. This one, I think I'll use the whole, I don't know what to call this, the top part of the necklace where it would go onto the chain. I'm not sure what I would call that, but that's kind of pretty. That's kind of nice. Okay. It's a cute little star-shaped. Let's see how that would look in there. Back to the boring paper cutting. It probably would be best if I had all these elements cut out first, but I really wanted you to see what it's like if you're starting, because the couple ladies that asked me about it are just starting out and didn't have many supplies and were asking for ideas or suggestions, you know, how to get going and things like that, and what products to buy and things like that. So that's sort of why I thought I might do one of these. Oh, I like that. Maybe I'll just go with that, and there's a little peridot on here. I think I'll cut it in half and make it look like a leaf. So that's going to be our flower for the day. See if this works to kind of make a flower shape. I mean a leaf, sort of a leaf shaped thing. Well, whatever it looks like, I'm okay with it. So that's just what I'm going to do. Like I said, as you're doing something, you can do whatever you prefer to do with it, because it's yours. And this one lady I watched when I was first learning about this, her name's Dee Dee Willingham. She makes a lot of altered books and things like that. And she says she is the boss of her own coloring book. And I sort of thought that was very cute. And I like it. And that's how I feel about this. You are the boss of your own mixed media junk catalog that you create. You can do whatever you would like to do with it. It doesn't matter if anyone else likes it. If you have fun and you enjoy it, and you just do what you like. And it's not like this is fine art. It's just fun art. Oops, I guess I need a smidge more decoupage on that. Not much. When things are shaped like stars, are a little difficult because they have the little pointy edges that are a little tough to get to stay down, which is kind of funny, but it's same with this thing right here too. It doesn't want to quite lay down. It's something to do with that really sharp point, I guess. Don't know why. If you know why, let me know. All right, I'm going to do a tiny bit of pen work just because I think it's dry enough now. So, and then I'll kind of show it to you, and I think you'll get the idea of what to do. Now, this is a fine point Sharpie, black Sharpie. I use these a lot. I'm not very good at shading. I'm not very good at highlighting. I never really learned that. I'm trying to learn it a little bit. So what I do is I kind of use these, and I make little scribbly marks and dots and things to blur it out so it's not such a sharp line. And so here I'm way off, right? I'm way off. So no worries. You just color that back in. It doesn't matter. It's kind of good to go over the edge a little if you can. Both edges, you know. So you get on your book and then you get on there. And up, this is something else I like to do. Now this isn't quite dry enough. And the reason you need it to be dry, it will eat your pens. It just ruins them. So be careful. Anyway, I like to do things like this. I like to put little hearts on them, little crosses, things like that. I think I'll say something here like, she decided to fly. I think your own handwriting is really important. I hope you use it. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You can watch videos to help you get ideas about how to make it look a little, you know, more like what you want maybe. Like, I don't love the way the shape of this H is here, so I'm just going to round it out a little bit. I like things like that. I don't like the 3, so I'll go 5, 6, maybe I'll go 7. Okay. She decided to fly. So you can make something very exaggerated. This is pretty wet, so I might have to quit there, but oh, here's another. I told you I was going to paint over that, but I think I'll just do this instead, and I'll just kind of make this look like it's supposed to be a sketchy thing like that. I like to put the dates on things. I have a little signature thing I do. Maybe I'll put that on here. Maybe I'll hide it. Well, this pen's pretty bold, so I don't know that I could hide it. Let's see here. Maybe I'll do it right here. Oh yeah, that's pretty thick. Let me see. I think the ultra fine one I have, I think, is out. I think I need to get it. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. So how I would do, I go around like that, and then I connect there, and then I go around like that, and it's going to be a little confusing because it's underneath. And I make like a heart out of it, and I go like that. So that's kind of what I have, this little signature thingy I do. Not working too well, it's still a little too wet. This little antenna here, I'll just draw him up and make him a lot longer, and I'll make this one a lot longer. See what happens when it's wet? It won't, it looks like it's out, but it's not really. It's just, it's sort of eating it as it's going. It's bad, bad, bad. I'm going to leave it. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this helped you. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share, give me a comment. I appreciate all of it. Appreciate any support you give me. Thank you very much. Bye.